Greetings. We are in the lab. We back in the lab. Have been in the lab for a while. We've been doing live shows and other things like that. And so again, y'all get the connection with God to other people. And so we back in the lab. Glad to be here in the lab. And in honor of my boy Keyshawn Johnson, Housing, excuse me, Keyshawn. I'm thinking about Keyshawn. I look at Keyshawn in the moment. Keyshawn Housing and my boy, because I slipped up because Keyshawn went to Johnson High School, but that's not why. But and also Julius Hall, in honor of them, we are wearing HBJ because Keyshawn had said something about that. He's like, "Now, Professor, Keyshawn knew what the deal was. He went to Johnson, but we ain't sweating that. You got my nephew Kweisi right on. Kweisi went to Professor, but we ain't saying that. But again, because of those two right there, that's why we wearing this right here. This is a special show right here. All our shows we say are special. Got special people tonight, and we just going to roll right into it right now. With the guy, we'll start with Kweisi. Who are you?
My name is Kweisi Jones. I am a marketing major at Savannah State University. I'm currently the president of the Untitled Chapter. That's a Sigma Pi. Hope y'all can hear me. That's basically just me. I'm representing.
All right, and we now go to my boy, former intern who's now taking things to another level. That was he's blowing up. To my boy Keyshawn Housing, who went to Johnson High School. I thought that, but Keyshawn, you see this right here. Go ahead, my boy Keyshawn.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Keyshawn Housing. I currently serve as the Youth Programs Associate at the Mediation Center of the Coastal Empire. Not only that, I've done a lot of my time. I'm an alum of Georgia Southern University, major in history with a minor in Africana Studies. I also serve as commissioner of the Greater Savannah International Alliance, Savannah Cultural Affairs Commission, as well as the Historical Preservation Commission.
All right, and now we go on to the person. Many of y'all know him, but he will tell y'all a story that he found me in the corner sniveling and crying in a dark room at Savannah, and he picked me up and lifted me up. So y'all might understand why we got some connection with regard to these men right here on the show. And that again, it is the erstwhile leader of ATR OUR. Again, all the productions that are done here. Julius Hall. Who are you, Julius Hall?
I'm just a lonely man.
Come up.
I am a Wolverine, first of all. Tompkins High Wolverine, Woodville Tompkins Wolverine, one of the best schools in the whole nation. That's who I am. But I'm also president, CEO, and founder of ATR OUR, Our Black Media. You can find us here 7 days a week. Bringing the information with 26 shows and about 4 or 5 more in the works that we'll have coming, bringing the information to our community. But other than that, I am the one that found Professor Torre out at Savannah State when he was just a student out there over student government, and he was sniveling in the corner and crying, and I renamed him. His name was CL back then, and I picked him up. He was crying in the corner, and I named him Jamal Amir Torre, and that's who he is right now today. I'm so proud of him.
So y'all got the story. Y'all have gotten the legend, so y'all not understand. And so we're gonna move on to this right here, which is fitting. So we now throw it out to you, our president. Who inspired you, or who inspires you? That's Julius Hall. Who inspires you, or who inspired you?
I guess I was inspired by a lot of people. I get my fire from watching people that are engaged and involved in our communities. Anywhere from watching how Martin Luther King Jr. did what he did with back in the day with so little, watching Minister Louis Farrakhan try to uplift our people out of a pit. Watching today, brother Umar Johnson trying to bring the relevancy of who we are as a people and how we need to unite. All these things inspire me to want to do the right thing for our community, because I know we are marginalized and underserved. So this is why I do what I do. It's not a selfish bone about anything that I do. I try to do everything I do with the community. Even with I got 4 or 5 Savannah State students in there now, trying to get things right. So it's about community with me. So that's what inspires me. Just doing good.
All right, and so we're now going to Keyshawn. Who inspired you, or who inspires you?
You know, it's funny. I had this question asked to me just a couple of nights ago. I want to start just very quickly. 3 women in my life. My mother, Leslie, my godmother, Nikki, and my former speech therapist. I've called her Miss Candy my entire life. Without those 3 women, I would not be sitting here before you right now. 2 other people off the top of my head. My stepfather, Mr. Charles Freeman. May he continue to rest on with the ancestors. And then Dr. Martin Luther King. It's funny you mentioned that, Julius. Dr. King, his work, of course, is reflecting the way I speak. I've tried to somewhat emulate him in my speech pattern, especially when it comes to public speaking. And again, my stepfather, he made me into the man I am today. And just even right now in my work, just telling people, just even today, not even an hour ago, just not too long ago, I had a facilitated youth conversation with some students here in the high schools, and it was a small group, but the kids today, they truly inspire me because they're talking about concepts I wasn't even familiar with until I stepped foot on Georgia Southern's campus. They're talking about it live and in real time, and they are wanting the people, the adults, to listen, because that's all that really matters. I'm going to take my glasses off because I don't think y'all understand where we're at. I don't want to take too much more time because I know you.
Yeah, because we got some other stuff we got to go to. I got
kids, they definitely inspire.
Come around here. Let's all go, Keyshawn. So we're going to move on. Kweisi, who inspires you? Who inspired you?
Well, the 2 people that inspire me the most, I'm going to start with my mother. She the one who basically is like, she mentored me my whole life. You know, she told me what right was wrong, you know, told me from right from wrong, right? And she also basically gave me these little life nuggets that I always carry around with me, you know. Jamal told me last night, because he was speaking to my chapter. He said that, and he said the women in society are like the most important aspect of society. He said once the women are elevated, that means the whole society is elevated. You know, if the women doing good, the whole society doing good. And that's basically my mother. Once she doing great in her life, and she basically brought me up with him. And the second person is Jamal. Jamal is, I would say that he's the reason why I'm more outspoken, and the reason why I'm the president does some pie right now. Because when I first came to Savannah State, I was doing nothing. I was just sitting in you by myself and do my work until he reached out to me. And he's told me one thing that will always stick with me. He said, do not be like a lot of these other Savannahans that don't do shit. Excuse my French. So those are two people that inspired me.
All right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Again, just looking out for one another. And so now we're moving to something because we're going to start getting into some deep stuff right now, but want to know something with regards to what is that thing that give you that what is that song or songs that give you that that again, whenever you at some moment that when you hear that song, it gives you that inspiration, that So Keyshawn, what is the song or songs that give you that give you that feeling?
I listen to too much music for you to ask me that question, but I'm going to try and answer it. The song, I know the song that's really been getting me going right now is an old school song, The Temptations, Bareback. A lot of people hated the album, but that particular song, especially when it's done live, Bareback.
All right. All right. And so we're now going to Mr. Julius Hall. What song gives you that give that?
Right now, today, I'm a person that loves a song that makes you feel, that gives you the chills. I'm a love song type person and gospel. I don't. If I had to go to each one of the genres, and then you talking about party, and then it would be 50 Cent in the house. If I had to go to love songs, it would be Maxwell, This Woman's Work. If I had to do some gospel, it would be lately the song that makes me just have chills every time I hear it is "You Know My Name" by Mervyn Mayo. If you hear this song, it just touches you and brings something out you that it puts you spiritually in touch with God. You listen to this song by Mervyn Mayo. He redid the song Tasha Cobbs did, "You Know My Name," but he sings it on such a higher level. But those are, since I had to give different songs because no one song does it for me.
All right, cool. So Kweisi, we're now coming to you. What song gives you that that give you that, or songs give you that give you that feeling that, like it takes you to another level. It gives you that, that drive. It just
the two songs that give me that that makes you feel something is number one, "Groove Me" by God. It makes you feel good, makes you want to dance. I'm very like a party person. The second one is "Love Train" by Kafunction. So, very old school.
All right. I got you. Cool.
He got an old soul.
So now we're moving to this right here. Why do you love and have a concern for Black people? Why do you have a love and concern for Black people, Kweisi? Why do you have a love and concern for Black people?
In my opinion, I feel like a lot of people who are not Black don't really have love for Black people, and because of this, because I feel like a lot of people don't like me because of how I look, my culture. They that gives me more respect. How can I put this? Okay, so the reason that I feel like a lot of people don't have love for my I'm gonna say race, but my ethnicity is because the way they treat us around the world. And I feel like if I can show love to my culture, my people, that's just basically doing something that other people won't do. If that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. This.
All right.
That's it. Something.
All right. So, Julius Hall, why do you love or have a concern for Black people?
I have no choice. This is what this network was created for. And the reason is, I've lived a long life already. I might look 36, but I'm actually years old. I might act 26, but I'm really 60 years old. It's in my genes, I guess. But I feel an obligation to rectify a lot of things over my life that I owe my community a lot. And before I leave this earth, I feel it is my obligation to that I'm obligated to make sure that I make somebody else's life better. I see where we're going at. Even if you look at the show next, we're talking about all the killings that are happening in our community. So I feel like I owe it to my community to try to do something to to stop that trend. That trend, we're on a downward spiral. We're in a sunken pit, and in order for us to do anything to lift us up out of that pit, we got to pull ourselves up out of that pit. And that's where the term pulpit come from. You're in a pit, somebody has to pull you out of it. And I feel like this is my pulpit. This is my pulpit where I can do some good to try to help somebody.
All right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Keyshawn Kweisi. So, yeah, throw it out to you. Why do you love and have a concern for Black people?
Because if no one cares about us, then who will? I care about my people. I care about Black people. Because like you, Julius, like you said, we're all we got. I am Black. I was born like this. That's my response.
Okay.
I do what I do for our survival. And not only just to survive, but to actually live. Because right now we're surviving. We're just living. We're literally living through the apocalypse. And that's not it. I want my people to live and actually enjoy life. And that's what I work towards every day.
All right. That's a good segue in what we're going to talk about. What must we be doing for our community, for our families, and for ourselves? What must we do for our communities, for our people, and for ourselves? What must we be doing as men? Keyshawn.
We have to care. We actually have to care about what's going on around us. And we have to take control. We have to take control and do what the community says needs to be done. We need to take our power back.
And that's it? You have any more?
I'm sorry, repeat the question for me. I had it and I lost it. Repeat the question for me.
What must we do? What must we do as men for our communities, for our people, and for ourselves and our families?
There we go. We have to care, and we have to do the work. We have to listen to all of our family members. Listen, I have in my house right now 2 younger sisters and my mom. They can be a lot at times, but you listen to them, you hear them for who they are and their experiences. You treat them as they are, human in the world, and you listen to their concerns, and you either do what you need to do and do what they need to do to actually be happy. That's what we need to do for the community as well, especially with our youth in these schools. We need to care. We need to listen to what they have to offer to us. Whatever concerns they bring to us to the table, we need to actually listen and work those issues out. In the political realm, like I said, we need to take our power back. We've let these jokers with no care in the world for what happens to us take over and do what they will, do what they want without impunity, with impunity. We have to show who has the real power, and that's the people. That's us. People enjoy drama. People tend to enjoy the petty things. But every day I wake up, I think to myself, we are in a war. We're in a war for our survival. Not a lot of people taking that serious enough. I say what I said, and then that just runs over people's heads. They may not think we're in a war, but we are. They may not notice the temperature, but it's I'm sorry, it's 90. It was 90 degrees, and it's definitely April. It was January, and it was definitely hot. That's not good, but no one seems to care about that either. We have to care about what goes on with us and around us before it's too late. And I fear it's getting closer to too late than not.
All right, Kweisi, we now turn it over to you. What must we do for ourselves, for our families, for our community, for our people?
Like what Keyshawn said, I agree with him. We need to care. We need to take back our power, and we need to provide opportunities, create opportunities, demand opportunities from city council or the mayor. We have to take back our position in the city. I feel like slowly the gentrification of Savannah is going to be like a major thing, and that a lot of people are moving out to Point Wentworth and Pooler and Garden City, and white people that's not even from here moving to Savannah. And I feel like that's a major threat to us. We will have no power in the city if that continues to happen. So I feel like we need to create opportunities, and basically, yeah.
All right. Julius Hall, what must we do for ourselves, our people, our communities, our families?
Well, the number one thing that we're going to have to do, and the number one thing that has to take place in any type of environment or any type of society, is you have to, or any type of organization, you have to unite. There's a big divide in the Black community. We're always fighting each other because it is designed that way. We're designed to fight each other. They pit us against each other every day. And there's little things that they do that we don't even recognize that makes us fight each other. And until we unite, we're not going to be any good to each other. We can keep operating the way that we do in silos because that's the way they put us. They put us in these silos on purpose. And we fight each other. We're trying to hold each other down. That's where that old saying come from, crabs in a barrel. You don't want anybody to get ahead of you. But our strength is our unity. Our weakness is our division. And until we start doing something to make sure that we all need to be at the table so that everybody can be included, it doesn't matter whether you have anything to say. You just got to be in that number. Numbers are power. Power. You have power in numbers. And until we start recognizing that, we're going to have a problem. And I think, by getting the information out, by doing the things that you and I are doing, and these two young men, we're bringing information to our community. And until we can get everybody to start listening on a level where they care, like these two gentlemen said earlier, you got to care that your community gets out of that pit. But unity is the number one thing.
All right. Now, I'll share something when you said unity, and let y'all know what's going on. Normally, what has happened other times when I'm inside the lab, I'm able to go and respond to y'all when you make comments with regards to Run Tell That. I can go and say like or make some other comments. I don't know what's going on because we haven't been in the lab for a bit. I can't get to y'all with some of the comments, and that to show you some of the hate that has gone on. Robert Bryant, who is somebody who I know well, Robert Bryant, he has made comments about fix this Jenkins shirt. I thought he was doing it out of love, but I knew it was really out of hate because he went to a school on the south side of Savannah, and that's really about that's why I say lack of unity right there. That's why we can't get together. And so that's a segue to this question right here. Why do Black men have fear? Why do Black men have fears? Why are Black men afraid? Why are Black men afraid? Julius Hall, why are Black men afraid?
I think it goes back to the last 40, 50 years. It's ingrained in some Black men to fear. They think that the bank is going to hold back a loan. They think that somebody's going to make them lose their job. But nothing can be farther from the truth. What we have to make people understand is that you have power now. And with that power, you can do anything that you want, especially if you're together, especially if you're united. They know that our division is our weakness, and they try to keep us divided. And a lot of people saying, "Who is they?" No, I'm not just talking. I'm talking about the powers that be. I'm talking about the people who got the money. It doesn't have to be anybody white. It could be white, black, any other color. But they know that if they hold a certain segment of the population down, then we'll always be servants instead of the leaders. We're always going to be serving people. So it's just a fear that's been ingrained from the old days. You have to know that your strength, that you have a lot of strength now. Nobody's coming to burn a cross in your yard. Nobody's coming to drag you out your house and rape your wife and kill your family. That's not happening anymore. So what you have to do is understand your power. And that's what we don't do. That's why we need unity in the community.
All right. So now, Kweisi, why are black men afraid? Why are black men afraid? Why do black men have fears? Why do black people have fears?
Remember what Mr. Hall said. They don't know they have power. And being that they don't know they have power, they're afraid to try to change anything or do anything because they don't know that they have the ability to do it. Like you tell me all the time, one person can make a change, right? You don't need a whole group of people. But just like what Julius said, if we unite, we're stronger than just one person. One finger can lift something, but a whole hand can do a lot more work. So if we unite and educate each other about the power that we do have, we get rid of fear. But that's why I think that we have fear in us now because we don't know we have power.
All right. We now move on. Keyshawn, why are black men afraid? Why do black men have fear? Why they have fears?
Because let's be real, any of us can, well, in some instances, we don't even get to leave our home. But let's be real. Any of us can leave our home right now, no matter how quote unquote great to society we've been. We can go outside. We can definitely get shot by anybody in the back of our heads by, let's just say, a policeman. At any moment, every single day of our life. That's number one. Julius, I want to agree with you. And don't say yesteryear, please, because it's happening in real time. Maybe it may not be as publicized as it was back then, but it's happening in real time. They're killing off any type of leader. They have killed off and they are killing off any prominent leader in our community, whether it be physically or reputation-wise, for the past 50, 60, 100 years. And then we see that. We see that. Everyone sees that. And it traumatizes us. In that regard, we fear because we've been traumatized. What will it take to work through that? I'm not exactly sure right now. Can we, when it looks like, why does this phone really keeps ringing? Nonetheless, how do we fix it? I think we have to start to really reimagine these fears. We have to imagine something different than what we've been accustomed to. Why do we fear? Because we haven't been able to reimagine. We haven't been able to think long enough to claw us out of this situation.
Okay. Well, now let's share this with y'all to the audience. And again, I wish I could then interact with some of y'all with regards to this, but we still say to y'all, share the show, because again, the information we're putting out there. Like, for instance, something has gone on, and they alluded to some of it. Julius Hall talked about it, Kweisi talked about it, Keyshawn talked about it. What is going on? Like, well, some of you may not know that on April 4th was an Atlanta holiday called 404. 404. Again, that's a holiday in which they celebrate the arts and they celebrate musicians. They celebrate the people there. 404 Day. That's what it is in Atlanta, Georgia. But I share this with people. I said that now some of us, we focus on 404 and they go to something that you always just sharing. There's something else significant about 404 that I hope that people will emerge that into what we are supposed to be about. Because on 404, actually, that is the day that Dr. King is assassinated. that I'm saying is not to criticize, but to say be reflective about. Not to criticize, but to be reflective about that. Where are we now since the time that King has been assassinated and Malcolm was assassinated? Where are we? And some have gone and said prior to King, they have said that if Malcolm was around, this is even going back 10 years ago, they said he will still see the same things that he saw what he was talking about in the 1960s at the time of his assassination. Dr. King will see some of the same issues today going on in our communities and in this nation. When I say community, don't think I'm just talking about black folks. I'm talking this entire nation seeing these issues right here. So I throw it out there to y'all. So we do something like 404 and not going into another realm. That can you imagine? I'm gonna want you all to answer with regards to this. I'm giving you to the fullness of it all. That can you imagine someone walks inside a store, convenience store, and then when he now puts his stuff on the counter, he pulls out his money to not pay, and that some other people are standing in there, and this is an African person, an African man who's standing in there in his 40s. He's standing in there. And he pulls out his money to not pay the people with regards to the items that he's now acquiring. So he walks out of the store, but there are two other African people there who are young, 18, 17 years old. They are standing in there and they look. And then they follow behind the person. And so now they want the money that person has had. That person has been working. So they now demand the money from that person. And then that person is killed and they go on their way. What has happened to us as a people, in particular black men, that we do stuff like that to one another? And what's in the mind of that person who is that young person, 17 or 18 years old, that they now have in their minds fixed in their head that is okay to go do something like to acquire the funds from someone else when they didn't do the same thing? But they go to them, and then when that person maybe even resisted, and some people might make an excuse, say, well, they shouldn't resist. If they have resisted, it was still their money. What is in the mind of that person that you think, and what must we do with regard to that type of person? And now when I'm saying person, but we know it's persons. We know that it's collective. So what do we do with regard to that? And go to Julius Hall first with regard to that.
Well, one thing that we do know is that it's a very, very, very small segment of the population, of the African-American population, especially, that's committing these crimes. So don't think that all black men are committing these crimes. It's the same ones. They are doing things that we just can't get them to stop doing. It's been ingrained in them for a long time, and we just we have to do something to correct that. We have to change it. It takes us, the four of us, and a whole lot more soldiers to get a hold of these young men. Somebody, I think me and Bernard were talking about it today on the phone, and we're going to be talking about it on the show next. That we have to change the mindset of these kids. It's cycles that the whole system goes through, and this is just a trend for now. It lasts about 20 years. Look how big the marijuana pandemic epidemic was. The crack epidemic was. It's cycles. So after a while, they'll stop killing each other. But look how many people are going to be dead. We're going to finally reach out and get and change this if we keep fighting the way that we are fighting now, if we keep advocating the way that we're advocating now. But it's going to be a whole lot of lives lost while we're doing that. But the good thing is help is on the way, and we're the help that we're looking for.
All right, so we now go to Kweisi.
I feel like there's a lack of mentorship. It's a lack of leadership in our community. And I think we have a lot of 17 and 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds who have had lack of leadership and mentor in their life, mentoring kids or teenagers that's 13 or 14, 12-year-olds. So that's why the cycle, I feel like, keep repeating itself. Because we have young people mentoring other young people, and we think that's okay. But they think that's okay, So I feel like if we have more leaders that's older, or people who had their heads on straight, we go out there and actually mentor the community, we'll see a change in our community. So, yeah.
All right. Keyshawn.
I want to add to that. It's like, yes, that's the thing that gets me. I know there are mentors here, right? And we have these kids who are struggling, who don't have that mentorship, right? Where's the connection? Where's the break in the road? Because we have them here. We do. There definitely needs to be more. Not only that, so yeah, fixing that connection, number one. Number two, these kids can peep when a person's faking the phone. I'll never forget this quote by a substitute teacher. She says, the youth, they see real, they keep it real. If you keep it real with them, you'll always have their heart. That's what I mean when I say people don't care. Nobody's keeping it real. For some reason, y'all may think that their intelligence level is a bit lower than yours, but it's not. It's definitely not, and they're definitely smarter than us. Just gotta listen to them. You got to actually pour. If I was a barrage of energy, if I could barrage my energy to these kids, that's how much you have to pour into them for them to realize their light, for them to know their worth. If we can do more of that, if we can join those links together and actually pour into these kids, then we can see the results where they're not killing each other. And by the way, can we talk more very quickly what may have gotten them there? Yeah, I know parents today aren't the best. Everyone's just trying to make it. But because of other issues, not of their control directly, they're still struggling. No one seems to take into consideration that, in today's economic times, people working 2-3 jobs, full-time, part-time, they're not physically there. Again, it's either that, and yes, they'll be with their child, but they'll definitely not have the money to provide a roof over their heads or food, the necessities of life. So that's why, again, when we have to care, we have to take that into consideration as well. And nobody does, especially in Savannah. I'm going to stop before I ramble on. Please continue.
All right, yes, sir. Thank you. Because again, it's not just a Savannah thing. This is a collective thing for us in the United States and even outside the U.S. We see the same experiences. The issues that we see here, actually, the same issues out in Brazil with African people. So that's why I'm going to throw this out here, and the producer's going to probably get mad with me about it because somebody else said that I shouldn't say this. Because again, it comes down to being concerned, being the care, and that's what Keyshawn, you said that there are a lot of other things coming to play. It's about nutrition. That children not getting nutrition even when they are young. And then with regard to the nurturing, with regard to the psychological, it's Kweisi you throwing up there with regards to say, again, the mentorship. Because again, some people, there's an issue. People say folks will join and do a mentorship in the beginning, but then by June, they might do it in January, but by June, only one man is around trying to mentor them. So that occurs. And so for some of us, because I'm going to get to this point with regards to what I want to see what y'all do, because I said, just like with regards to homicides that have happened here in the city, per capita, there is a problem here, per capita. And I said, what will bring about change here? If somebody go and shoot and kill some tourists downtown Savannah, go kill some tourists in downtown Savannah, and guess what? You'll find the entire system here, from the business leaders to the political leaders, to the social leaders, to the spiritual leaders, all of them now will say, we got to do something. If some people go down there and they kill some tourists down there, because guess what? It impacts their money. It impacts their money. But here go the people who reside right here, who live in this city. There's no concern about what happens to them. And again, the dynamics that came into play with regard to brought all this about. But guess what? You go kill some tourists downtown Savannah, and everybody is now going to do something about it. So I'm now going to turn it over to Kweisi. What must be done to bring about the change? What must be done to bring about the change for all of us?
As far as the murdering and killing in the city or nationwide, right?
I'm just talking about with us. What must be done? So we're looking at Savannah. What must any change? I'm talking about any element of change. That not just with regard to homicide, but if you want to expand it more with regard to, I'm just saying, but I know there will be some changes that will occur because those changes going to impact us economically, educationally, because people want to say, what could we have done? And they're going to look at all those aspects right now. They're going to look at it on the spiritual level. So let me go into like this. What would you tell political leaders, business leaders, religious leaders, and social leaders here with regard to something like that to bring about change? Because again, go kill a tourist. Guess what? You'll see change.
Like I said before, we need to demand and provide opportunities for people in Savannah. We need like after school programs for kids who are in high school, elementary, middle school. We need to have something in place for people to be, I'm gonna say occupied, but something that can help. They can go to educate, to relieve stress, or to just learn. You know, they need mentorship, they need leadership, they need somewhere to go. We have to provide that safe haven for them. I feel like there's a lack of safe haven around Savannah for people. Young people, older people, we need that. That's why I feel like we need.
All right. Keyshawn, what are the demands that you make to political leaders, business leaders, religious leaders, social leaders, educational leaders here?
Honestly, we just need to rewrite the whole playbook at that point. Honestly, and it's funny that you had mentioned a hypothetical. What if somebody decided to get all the tourists downtown? I thought about the same type of thing back in like last year. January 6th. You know what happened with that. If only they just got into some politicians. But let's not get too wild. Until something like that, hopefully it doesn't happen, but until some dramatic shift happens like that, I agree with you. We need a safe haven. You know what I was thinking to myself? Remember a couple weeks ago, they made a report on the news about some kids. They were playing around in the housing complexes with their BB guns. They had a warning: make sure you don't take out the people, the residents. Back in my mind, what can we get like a Nerf stadium here, a Nerf little studio where they can go, where the kids can go and play and do their Nerf games without definitely getting hurt in the road? It goes back to, again, I agree with you perfectly. We need those safe havens. Not only that, but what does that? Safe havens in entertainment, safe havens in education. Because if you haven't noticed, they're definitely about to try and stop talking about any type of Black history, race, or any divisive concept. Like they're not the divisive ones. Put in those resources. If I could talk to the political leaders, I tell them to actually listen to your people, because they know best and you don't. Your ego says you do, but in your soul, I know you know. I know you know who's right. That's why history is going to come and look at y'all unfairly. If I could talk to the business leaders, I'd tell them to stop being so stingy. The world's ended anyway. You're not going to be able to take your money with you to the grave, so you might as well give it and actually try to make some other people's lives better while they're still here. If I could talk to the education leaders, teach your kids the truth. Tell them how it is. Keep it real with them. I'm sorry. Now I'm mad. Let's go. Let's keep going.
All right. So I'm going to throw this out before I throw it to Julius Hall. And so some of y'all thinking like, I'm saying this to you, like I told some folks this morning. I said, check this out. I'm saying this to y'all because when that happens, I'm going to say, I told you all that on Run Tell That. I'm going to tell you all, I'm going to say, I said that in the first full week of April, I said that on Run Tell that when that occurs, guess what? Things are going to get shut down. But then also, I ain't got to go to something like that. Guess what happened? Some of y'all know from Savannah, Chatham County, Georgia. You remember somebody by the name of Jennifer Ross? Jennifer Ross, who is this student who is looking for drugs and now engaged in some drug transaction, and she dies. Her family has money here, and so guess what? You now have the soccer complex named for Jennifer Ross. But guess what? Guess who turned the person in who committed the crime? It was the community. You know why they turned the person in? Because they had shut down the entire community. Nobody could get the drugs. The business had been shut down. Everybody now made sure that this Caucasian female that got killed, they made sure that her life is going to be more valuable than anybody else's lives who have been killed also. And so now they shut the entire city down. Bam! Everybody's now on it. You can't get drugs. You can't get nothing. So people going to say, listen, you bad for business. So they turn the person in. But then now, That's Jennifer Ross. Let's go back in time to somebody named Ricky Gibbons. Ricky Gibbons, who they had called the drug kingpin here in the city of Savannah. And that again, Ricky Gibbons made an observation. The drug kingpin. He said that when we were killing black people and they found their bodies and found them inside cars in Henry Street Lane and found their bodies over in Tatumville, because y'all know Tatumville was the dumping ground. That again, in Tatumville, and they were all black. Nobody had any concern. But when the white man is killed in Ardsley Park, everybody, the mayor, the police chief, everybody want to do something about it. So that's why I'm saying to y'all. So what I just said ain't too far-fetched. It is reality. It has been that we have seen it, and it's going to get even more glaring because, remember I brought up about Malcolm? What was the thing that they used to basically ostracize Malcolm from the Nation of Islam? Because Malcolm said the chickens came home to roost regarding President Kennedy. When he got assassinated, Malcolm said the chickens have come home to roost. So don't come at me like this is like, I'm shocked about this. Look at what the United States have done outside of this nation and having people assassinated. It now will come back to visit them. And so guess what right now? You are looking at this stuff happen to the black community here predominantly with regard to this issue. Guess what? It's going to visit some other people if you don't go and address the pain and the anguish of the people. So, Julius Hall, what are the demands that you will make to the political leaders, the religious leaders, the educational leaders, and also the social leaders here in the city of Savannah, and the business leaders here in the city of Savannah?
And it's funny that what we're talking about tonight, I had already on our agenda tonight is 70% of what we're talking about. Keyshawn, if you're free, you can come and be on that show tonight. And Kweisi, you can too if you feel like it. It's from 7 to 9 right after this show. But we'll be talking about these issues also. And I'd like to get y'all perspective if y'all got time. If not, I'll send y'all the link while the show is going on if y'all have time. But anyway, and it's funny that you would be discussing the same things that we're going over tonight. The main thing that I would tell all of them, I'm going to address all of them together.
All right.
All of them together. I don't have to break them apart. It's one thing that they need to all realize. Black lives matter. People have been conditioned for so long to think that we don't matter, whether we get killed or what. That's just a black person. They don't matter. And see, it's one other thing that I wanna tell those leaders also. Until you address the elephant in the room, you can't work on the problem. The elephant in the room is race. We address it. Black leaders here, especially when they get money and get comfortable, they get scared and they don't say anything anymore. If you talk race, they run away from you because they're not concerned with everybody else no more. It's all about them. They don't care. Black lives matter. We got more whites helping in what we're doing with the weeping time and Black Lives Matter and other issues than we do the blacks that needs to be there. So that's the two things I would tell them. You have to address race, and you have to understand that Black Lives Matter. Don't be scared to address race. You've never heard the mayor of Savannah say Black Lives Matter, ever. Pull some tape up and show me where he's ever said Black Lives Matter, because he don't think so. That's my opinion, because I've never heard him say it, ever. And if the mayor, who's the head of the sister seat of this county, can't say Black Lives Matter, there's an issue, there's a problem in this county. There's a problem in this country when you get scared, black people scared to even address race.
And yes, sir. And we put this out there to some of you. Kweisi asked me a question last week, and he and I got into this conversation about this. And so I'm going to share this with you, Kweisi, and to Keyshawn, and to the audience, and to Julius. Tomorrow, there will be a series of stories that begin with, I will talk about something called SCAD, talking about displacement. And they are covering a part of the articles discussing the protest that was done by Keisha Brooks and with myself right there. And so they're going to be talking about that. They're discussing some other things too. They're talking about this right here. Part of the issue, we talk about the displacement of people. That's coming out on tomorrow. Kweisi then asked a question with regards to how is SCAD being given the okay that they could build a 17-story building right downtown Savannah. And so someone said to me, even today when I had the conversation, they said, they're going to put that right by that bridge, and then you're going to have the sun that's coming off of it. It's like, do they not think there might be some problems for the traffic? I said, guess what? What should be happening? I told them, you need to go talk to your state officials. You need to go to your state representatives and have a conversation with them about this and address this right here, because that is one of the economic elephants in the room right now that for us in this city. And we don't address it fully. And again, tied to leadership in this city who sits silent with regards to some of this right here. And again, we're looking at something that could be a monstrosity that will impact all of our lives. And this is a problem. And again, when I talk about not having fear, we have to make sure that we have no more fear. It is shameful, the fear that we have as Black men in particular. And when Kweisi shares something with y'all, what it is, that what we are told part of our tradition is this, that paradise lies at the feet of the mother. That's one of them. Paradise or heaven lies at the feet of the mother. The other one is this right here. You know the condition of a society based on the condition of the women. You know the condition of a society based on the condition of the women. And I ask people this question all the time. People try to jazz it up. I say, what is the condition of women in this society right here? What is the condition of women in this city right here? They're at the lower bottom of the societal strata right here. They're at the bottom. So that means that women at the bottom, guess what? That means everyone is at the bottom. When you elevate women, that's when you elevate the entire society. That's why I tell people, women are the thermometer for any society. Women are the thermometer for any society. If you elevate women, then your society is elevated. But when you oppress women, guess what? The society is oppressive to everyone. The chickens will come home to roost. So I'm going to throw it out to you, brothers, give perspectives with regards to that. What are the things that we need to make sure we are now addressing so then that way the chickens will not come home to roost on all of us, because that's all of us and the fears and the concerns that people live with every day of their lives. And we go to Keyshawn first.
We definitely, because you're right, we treat our women like trash. I'm not gonna cap. As a collective, we treat our women like trash. Tired of. No, I'm wanting everyone to really admit that we treat our women like trash. We need to rectify that. Number two, and how do you do that? I don't have all the answers. I'm really guessing. I'm just throwing things to the wind. Maybe they really listen to them, because they tell you what they need very clearly. And actually, make them feel womanly, make them feel feminine and soft, and they'll reciprocate that to you. Second, we treat the members of our fellow Black members of the LGBT community, we treat them like trash. And we need to rectify that as well. I understand it's not everyone's lifestyle. Some people listening right now, they may not even like it. But that it's their life, not yours. Nothing you do can change their minds or make them feel any differently. So instead of trying to fight against it, you might as well embrace it. Instead of trying to fight against it, you might as well embrace it. Gonna put that on a shirt one day. And again, I'm gonna keep referring to this like I'm a broken clock. We actually have to care. We have to be willing to care and actually provide that energy to really change those aspects about us. And it's going to take a lot of work. It's very traumatic, actually, because,
I'm going to say this because, again, the other show going to have to come on, and so we don't want to back them up. So I need to make sure, Kweisi, go ahead, give us your thoughts with regards to that.
In the great words of Amir Jamal Surrey, we have to hold people accountable. The Sky president, she building that 17-story building. We have to hold her accountable. We have to hold city officials accountable, the mayor accountable for things that they're not speaking up about. You know, we allowing SCAD to do things they want to do. We allowing other city officials to do things they want to do. We got to hold people accountable. Plain and simple.
All right, and absolutely correct. We're not turning on Julius Hall because you've been on this for a long time. We turn it over to you.
If you look at it, women are, you're absolutely correct about society is judged by the placement of the women in society. Our group of women are actually above the black men because we have black women leading black men. It's all psychological. We have failed to lead. We have failed to get involved. We are too comfortable. And as black men, it's incumbent upon us to do what is necessary to lift our women and our children out of that sunken pit. We must do it. You know, it's a plan. It's a plan that goes all the back to and we're going to talk about it tonight. Like I said, y'all need to stay tuned. It goes all the way back to not having a man in the project, putting us on food stamps and welfare, making us think that they have to take care of us. When you start to feed, if you tell a person they ugly and they're the most beautiful person in the world, you tell them they're ugly every day of their life, they're going to believe that they're ugly. Perception unchallenged becomes reality. And we have to change that. Black men have to rise up. That's what we have to do and to change things. We have to rise up.
And to share this with y'all, those in the audience, the people who are the most impoverished people, groups in this country are women and children. And that if you are not taking care of the women and the children, then you do not deal with the issues that you're facing right now. We need people to not understand that we must take care of the children and also take care of the women in the society. Because again, if we elevate women, then guess what? Our society will be elevated. That means oppression will not be around. Because when you oppress the women, guess what? African Americans, guess what happened? You oppress women in the society, you oppress African American women, all of us are impacted. As Keyshawn discussed with regards to leaving out your house, being concerned about that, that's because you have that fear, because you're just a residual impact of the oppression that's going on. It is time for us to end the oppression. It's time for us to no longer be afraid. And you all heard me say this before. We must be the Sabikun of the Sabikun, the vanguard of the vanguard. And some people say, what does you mean by vanguard? That means the leaders of the leaders. We must be the leaders of the leaders. We must be that group of people that will stand up and elevate our people and ourselves and our communities and our entire society, our entire world, or our nation for that matter. So thank you all for being on Run Tell That. And so we're going to segue on over to the rabble. And so since some of this conversation we had tonight will spill over into the rabble, we'll be right.
A whole bunch of it will spill.
So I'll say this right here. I can't get to some of your comments because, again, it will not let me do it on this system right here. So I don't know what's going on. But we'll be back in the lab again on next week. So we say, Run Tell That. Peace and blessings. Share. Glad to have all of you. All right.
Like this.